Feeling stuck? Searching for clarity? Welcome to Life in HD with me, Natalia, a podcast about clarity, self-discovery, and embracing the unique way your brain works. I'm a life coach who was late diagnosed with ADHD. Ever since, I've been on a mission to help others break free from unrealistic expectations and build a life that truly fits them. If you've ever felt overwhelmed, stuck, or like you just don't fit the mold, this is a space for you. Whether you're navigating ADHD, anxiety, or just trying to break free from outdated expectations, with real conversations and practical strategies, I will help you reframe your mindset and build a life that works for you. Let's redefine success, challenge the stigma, and live a life in high definition. Ready? Let's dive in.
Hey, everybody, I want to welcome you to a great show. I'm Dr. Pat, and I get to take this beautiful ride with the most incredible Natalia Peña. And look at Life in HD with Natalia. Now, what I love about this is to come out and to be willing to educate, to be willing to say who you truly are, to talk about what happens in your life experience in the way Natalia has been doing. This is what we need now. See, we have to stop hiding, or we have to stop really making up stories about what we think is going on with someone, because Natalia, right? Understanding is the first step. And today's episode taps right into something so extremely important for us. So tell us a little bit about this episode and just give us a sense of what we want to drive home for people today.
Yes. So, hello, Dr. Pat and
Hi,
everybody.
Natalia.
So as we've been talking about from the beginning of Life in HD, is about how do you find the highest definition of who you are? And for many years, I thought that there was something wrong with me, and I was overcompensating by becoming a people pleaser, by putting myself in circumstances that made me withdraw from being my authentic self. Now, as I started my self-discovery of what was going on with my brain, and I realized the aha moment of, oh, I have a neurodivergence. And that means that many people have different kinds of brain activity, that the filters that they have and how they see the world are different from mine. And so what I might find as difficult or uncomfortable might not be for you or for other people, and vice versa. Something that you find very easy and normal might be extremely complicated for me. So once you have that sense, it allows you to expand into this moment of like, okay, this is the kind of brain that I've got. Now, where can I fit it within the world, where I go, where I live, the things I am passionate about, and the people that I hang out with. So I want to start with the big picture. And the world has changed so much since technology came into place. So technology has given us amazing tools. We can FaceTime. My whole family is in South America, in Colombia, and I know practically what's happening with them on a daily basis because I can connect with them and I can see them. So thankful for technology. I can be with Dr. Pat, that is in the States, and I'm in Canada. We can be in the same room, sort of talking and having this conversation. So technology is a fantastic tool, and I am very grateful for it. But what has been happening over the years that technology became so important is that we've withdrawn from real FaceTime in-person community. So I'm going to read you some statistics that I found. So most of them are in the US, but I think they touch global. But the number of people reporting 10 or more close friends decreased in the past 30 years. So in the 90s, 33% of people reported having 10 close friends. Now is only about 13% of people. Up to 80% of young people under 18. So we're talking about children. And also the other group is over 65. So 40% of like 65s, they all report feeling lonely at various times. And 40% of like the adults, the ones in the middle, they report feeling isolated and lonely. And in a world where now technology is connecting us apparently so much, how are these statistics making sense? So loneliness is not just uncomfortable, but it's also very bad for your health. So the World Health Organization has linked loneliness to an estimated 800,000 deaths every single year. So that's about 100 deaths every hour.
Yeah.
From something as simple as not having a real connection, a physical connection with someone.
You know what I love about that number? Not much, but what I do love about it is those of us that do surveys and research, we know that that number is low. That's what we know. Why?
That's reported.
Because we don't report that. I mean, come on now. You ask people like, okay, do you? But what you're saying is this is a growing situation.
Yes. It's the loneliness pandemic, they call it. Because what has happened? So let's explore what is that really has changed. People work remotely. The world's expanding, so you could work for a company in another country. You could practically live anywhere else and still work for your company, right? There's people that move to Greece and Portugal, and there was this boom of like going to Europe, and even though you're still working remotely from the United States. So that was all very fascinating and exciting, but people are now so reliant on the technology part and the social media, and they're forgetting about how to interact with other people, and especially children. And even after COVID, there was a disconnect on how do children now communicate with each other. We've been finding in schools that they're starting to teach them again how to interact with each other, how to play a proper game, how to share, because there was a disconnect in that time that they didn't have that. So when we go back to the brain, our brain is molded according to like nurture, how we were raised, culturally, where we are around, and also by the times. But if we are all secluded and we're not being exposed to certain things, it's almost like we're stunting our development in how to behave and how to relate to others. So I want to talk about, like, in the past, how they used to call it the spaces. So we had these 3 spaces, and so sociologists they used to describe it as the first space, which is your family. You don't choose it; you're born into it. It's supposed to be a safe space where you could be yourself, because this is the people that have known you the most. So your family members, this could go even to extended family. But the first space is a space that you're just usually familiar with. The second space is work. Or if you are younger and you go to school, it would be the second most visited place. I mean, we spent most of our lives at work more than even at our own homes. So the second space was a space where it's superficial kind of relationships. And in the past, there used to be things like the water cooler meetings, or break rooms chats, or after work, people used to go to have a drink or to a restaurant. And now with technology, that second space has even reduced even more superficially to I have an interaction, we're doing tasks together, but we're not really going deep into who we are. Now, the third space, which is sort of the most important space, that used to be very important in the past, was your tribe. I call it your tribe. And that's the space you chose. you decided who's going to be in that circle, in that space. So family, you didn't choose, you're born into it. Your work, you can't really choose the people that you work with. They're just part of the company or the institution or whatever. But the third space, you do have the decision of what is that for you. So I had rewatched the show Cheers. Do you remember Cheers?
Love the show.
And the famous song,
I
where
know.
everybody knows your name,
I
right?
know.
And it was this place where these regular people, after work, after whatever other spaces they used to congregate at the bar, and you got to know them by what they were doing in every episode, and you saw their relationships, you
Yeah.
saw that they were struggling with something. It was a space where they chose to go there, and they chose to talk to those people and open up and create those relationships. And the third space has been disappearing as technology has
Yeah.
increased. There were churches, people used to go to church, or people used to go to their community libraries. People used to be more like you go groceries, so you used to go to the same grocery store,
Yeah.
a convenience store, your convenience store, like the corner store, or there was a famous cafe and you used to go and you could ask things like in the movies, like, I'll have the regular. And then the person that is serving you knew what that meant.
Yeah.
If you go now to a cafe and you say, I'll have the regular, they'll
Yeah,
look at you
no.
like, what the heck is that? And
But
who are
you're
you?
hitting a really good point, because I really didn't think about this. When we were working at corporate America, just to be very clear about what you're talking about, it was a second family. So I know you defined three spaces, but there was this overlap between family and work, right? Because
Yes.
you did everything together. You just described it. Every Friday we would go to the same pub. Then we had a softball team. We were together more than
Yes.
like my first family. But now
Yes.
what do we do? Because that is not happening. I made a decision a couple months ago to get rid of the office space and remote, everybody work remote. Really an adjustment.
Hmm.
I know it's the way to go.
Yes.
Really
And
an adjustment.
yes, 100%. And I think I think the idea is not to, oh, let's go back to the office, or
No.
let's go back to, and yes, there is the overlap with coworkers and the third space, but what we are trying to understand is that because it's easier for you to go online and find, let's say, an online community, or go on a chat, or play games, or just go through reels, it is easier to not have to interact with people, right? But the third space was the space where you could talk about your family, you could talk about work without feeling like, oh, I cannot talk to my coworkers about work because it's them. Right? Is this other place where you could be more yourself without the expectations of having to perform. Like at work you perform, with your family you perform. I hope you don't have to, but there is still certain level of how you behave, right?
Oh,
So
yeah. Yeah, you're protected around your family for the most
yes,
part, right?
and honestly, if you could work at creating spaces or times where your family, where you could have sort of that space, that's amazing and that's fantastic and good for you. But it is also important to have others people beside your
Yeah,
family.
totally get
So
it.
so let's try to figure out, how do we do about this? So the reason why for me it was starting to become an issue was, once I found out that I had ADHD, that my family didn't understand, and there was the stigma. So it's almost like, are you sure that you have it? I'm like, I have a doctor diagnosis. But it was difficult for me to talk to them about it, because they weren't in my situation, and it got to a place where they were like, oh my gosh, all you talk about is ADHD. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. At work is not something that I wanted to discuss about, because then again, the stigma, and you never know, like you say something at work and then they might, whenever you make a mistake, they might link it to that. And so it wasn't a safe environment yet for me to disclose this. Which, by the way, now at work, I have disclosed it because I have more certainty about my brain and how to talk about it. But then I started to try to figure out, where can I find people where I can talk about this? And online definitely was the first place that I found a community. And most people that are neurodivergent are so willing to become helpful
Yeah.
and to give you answers. And if I would go on Twitter back then, when it was Twitter, and there was a hashtag called Ask ADHD, and I would just ask,
Yeah.
how do you manage the crash after medication? And 100 people would pour in
Right.
from around the world. And then all of a sudden we had a group of people, and communities are starting to build. And there's people from that era 3 years ago that I'm close friends with, and we text, and we've never seen each other in real life, but I know what they're about, and we share messages, and they remember my birthday, and we're close friends, and we still can have those conversations. But then what I needed to realize is that I needed an outlet, a space, or a tool for me to get that human interaction outside. So the first thing you need to know what kind of tribe you need to build is, what is that you feel like you're lacking. So it could be a spiritual connection, and that would be like, okay, find something about, maybe it's a church, maybe it's a prayer group, maybe it's a meditation group, maybe it's a healing center. There are so many things out there. It's just a matter of finding them. But maybe what you need is a place where you could just de-stress, get rid of all the pumped up energy, just release from your week. And maybe that's a sport, maybe it is a running group, maybe it's a walking group. You don't need to go that hard to start running, but there are still table tennis groups.
Oh, yeah.
There are soccer teams. There's things for adults that are not competitive. It's just recreational. There is something out there.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe what you just want is companionship without the burden or the expectation of like going into deep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for example, I took a painting class. So how it works is, once a week, I go to this studio where there's a teacher, and she sets up all the easels there's about 10 or 12 of us. And I go there and I can choose if I want to talk while I paint, or I can put my headphones. But she has done the effort part of why I couldn't paint at home, let's say, of the cleaning up and setting up, and
Mm-hmm.
that used to overwhelm me, so I didn't do it, and so I didn't finish a lot of my projects. By finding this space, now someone was getting rid of that part that I didn't like, and now I go and I can start painting. And if I need help, or if I'm struggling with something, she's available right there. And if I feel like interacting and talking to other people, the people next to me are talking. And within 6 months, what had taken me in the past years, I finished the painting that is
I know. It's
in the
beautiful.
back. And
Beautiful.
I felt so accomplished. And now I'm going to start again. And it's not a space where I have to be completely like, I don't need to open up fully about my life, but there is an area where what we're sharing is, the common denominator is, we want to not think about work or
Yeah.
our lives or making supper. It's a place where like we're all painting, and we're all women, and we enjoy music, and we're gonna paint.
Yeah.
And for 1 hour, no, actually it's 3 hours. It's 3 hours once a week. It's like I escaped, but I am
Yeah.
around other human beings. And on Sundays, my family and I, we go to church, and it becomes a routine, and it's part of our ritual. So we know Sundays, I'm not going to plan to have anything that needs to get to do with work or cleaning or anything on Sundays. Sundays is a day that I don't do anything. We go to church, and then after we go have supper with family, and then we go for a walk. And then when I come back home, it's like I did something that it was different. I went and I congregated with people that spiritually are going through the same things that I am going through. And so the idea is you find what are you lacking in your life, and you try to incorporate it in small steps, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's so important what you're talking about, because what you just described with church, that is also fading in a lot of circles. I love that 12-step meetings all went online. However, you need to really get back to the rooms. You need to get back to people, right? Because that's part of the spiritual connection. But what you're talking about is there are other ways. And taking a class, bingo.
Yes, they are. And honestly, there are very many spaces happening. It's just a matter of you reaching out. And that's the part that is hard, is you do need to make the decision. You need to be intentional about, I'm going to try this. And what you don't know is that maybe you take this, you decide, I'm going to go for 3 months to this yoga class. Okay. And 3 months later, you made a friend. And then with that friend, we're going on a hike to this other place. You don't know. Unless you try and you put yourself out there, you won't experience what else is available for you. And many people, out of fear, or maybe there is a stigma about how they feel. Yes, putting yourself out there is terrifying. It's super scary. But you could find people that are like you, that are also terrified about being in that space. I recently read about this cafe in the United States that I almost feel like I need to go to Portland just to go to this cafe.
Yeah.
But it's called a silent reading cafe. So from 7 p.m. till I think is 8 p.m., you get there and you ordered your coffee, you have a little bit of chit chat, interaction, and at 8 o'clock on the dot, the music dims, the music gets lower, the sound gets lowered, the lights, and you could go with a book in a corner and not talk anymore, and everybody reads, and you're together with other people without having to talk to them.
I love that, because I'm a super introvert. So that kind of thing is what I've always been drawn to. Even when I'm studying, like when I was in school, getting out and not even talking, but just having people around. So what you're talking about is, one, we really need to look at what we're allowing to fade in our lives that's not serving us. It's not helping us. And if we don't make this adjustment, Natalia, I mean, that is the pathway to loneliness. So we really have to prevent that.
Yes. Yes, you do need to put yourself in a place where, even if you don't want to do it because it's effort, just think about it as it's for your health, physical health, not even just mental health, which, yes, huge for your mental health, but your physical health. Being around other human beings, interacting with other people, it influences the way the chemistry in your body works. And there is something there for everybody, and trying something new might be something that like excites you, and maybe you try it and you're like, this is not for me. I'm sure there is something else. So technology connects us, but in-person connections keeps us healthy and our hearts full. Even though there's the decline of the third spaces, you could create them and you could find them there. Let's boost them up. Let's go back to that third space. Let's go find your cheers. Maybe don't go drinking every week, but find a place where you could drink coffee, or you could play a board game. And then just sit down and take a moment to ask yourself, what is it that I really want or need in a tribe, if I had to choose who to be stuck with in an island, who are the kind of people that I would like to be stuck in an island with? But don't choose to be by yourself. Choose
Yeah.
a group of people. Maybe it's a group of people that won't talk to you, but they
Yeah.
are together in the room, and that is fine. It's just a matter of finding that group and your tribe where you could talk about it and you could discuss about it, where you could be yourself in a different way. And so if I were to challenge people that are listening to this week, one small step is first figure out what is the kind of space that I'm lacking, that I'm longing for. And second, just start by Googling. Go on Google and find like spaces where I can find a spiritual connection, or where I can find like a exercise,
Yeah.
or a space where I can meet other people that have so and so traits, descriptions,
Yeah. And you really
etc.
have to find them, because what you're saying is, I want to say this to everybody. A lot of what's happening here in this state are the senior center ages have dropped. Once upon a time, you had to be like 80 or something. But now they're opening their doors for like 50-year-old people to come in. And what I'm watching is people will come in and they'll just do puzzles together. Right?
Amazing.
That's what we're talking about. And
Yes.
I just wish there were more places for people to do this, because we're not getting fulfilled at the other spaces.
No, that's it. And they are there, and there is always someone that is looking exactly for what you're looking for.
Yeah,
So go out there and find, I challenge you to find them.
I agree. And then pay it forward. Now, how do people find out more about you? Let's talk about that. Because you're also available to help people. A lot of what you and I are talking about, we can talk about it easily because we've taken that first step. But I don't know about you, but that first step was hard for me.
Yes.
So what
Yes,
you've
for sure.
done is opened up your door, and you're a coach, which means you're helping people make these changes. So how do people work with you? How do they find out about you?
Yes, they can find me at www.natalialifecoach.com, or they can find me on my YouTube channel at Life in HD with Natalia. I'm also on social media. You could find me on Life in HD and Instagram and TikTok. I'm pretty reachable. So
Great.
and yes, like maybe I could help you just find groups, or what prompts to ask on Google to figure out exactly what kind of place
Right.
that you need.
Yeah. I look, all you out there, it's okay if you don't even know the question. See, a lot of what we go through is we think we have to know it. No, not here, not today, not with Natalia. You don't have to know the question. Maybe you just want to have a conversation because you don't know what you don't know. Natalia, you've been there. Thank you so much for a great show today.
Yes, thank you too, and thank you for letting me speak about this.
Absolutely. Not only that, this is an area where, for you parents out there, you probably don't know where to go. And Natalia has opened the door for you. It's okay not to have all the answers. It's okay not to even know the question. But there are places now you can go to figure out what your pathway could be for you, your family, your children. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for spending time with me on Life in HD. I'm Natalia. Tune in every third Monday at 11:30 a.m. Pacific, 2:30 p.m. Eastern on Transformation Talk Radio. If today's episode resonated with you, I would love for you to subscribe, leave a review, or share it with someone who needs to hear this at natalialifecoach.com. Remember, clarity, growth, and success look different for everyone. Keep embracing who you are, and I'll see you next time.